the devil,
edgelords,
motorcycles,
and Nicolas Cage.
These are the 4 elements of
Ghostrider, a movie that despite having a fairly abysmal critic score, has developed a bit of a cult following due to its unique style.
Salutations, I'm Inspector Keto.
And I'm Detective Mio. And in 2007, it was the Wild West of Marvel movies, as the MCU didn't even exist.
But after passing through a bunch of companies' hands, and with the success of Spider-Man, Columbia Pictures decided that Ghost Rider would be the next great superhero movie.
And what a movie it is.
Let the investigation begin! We start with a prologue about the legend of the Ghost Rider and how he betrayed the devil hundreds of years ago and ran off with a contract with thousands of dead souls. No more contracts required, apparently. Continue.
It's now 1986, and in an amusement park, father and son motorcycle stunt team consisting of Barton Blaze and 17-year-old Johnny Blaze are facing some contrived life inconveniences.
Johnny's gonna run away with his girlfriend Roxanne, but oh no! Barton, Johnny's dad, has been hiding that he is sick with lung cancer. Big surprise, considering the fact that the man smokes 3 packs a day.
While Johnny thinks about what he's gonna do, the devil went down to Georgia, or wherever this takes place, to offer Johnny a deal that will change his life forever. In a bad way.
The devil isn't called Mephisto like in the comic books, but we'll call him that anyway.
Johnny foolishly accepts this deal to sell his soul so that his father will be cured, and he signs a contract by accidentally bleeding on it.
Now, I'm pretty sure this would not hold up in court, but I don't often make deals with demonic forces, so what do I know?
In the morning, Johnny's dad is miraculously cancer-free, and he's already cooking up some weird stunts. But Johnny still wants to abandon his father to run off with Roxanne, even though he has 0 money.
Despite being understandably irked, his dad gives Johnny the keys to the old bike that has a name. That's how you know it's important. While Johnny leaves, oh no! There's a tragic accident. Now for the life of me, I can't figure out what happened, but golly gee, it looks bad.
Johnny runs back and arrives just in time to hear his father utter his last words. Dad. No, never mind.
Johnny leaves his dad to rot and meets the devil at the crossroads, pointing at him in the most melodramatic way I've ever seen. Mephisto touches him and says Johnny's just gonna have to wait till Mephisto has a use for him. Until then, no loved ones for Johnny!
You get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
Johnny then abandons the town and his girlfriend, and we skip forward in time.
Not gonna lie, killing Johnny's dad doesn't make a whole lot of sense narratively. Johnny ends up leaving town anyway, just without his girlfriend. It's not like his dad was gonna stop him from doing anything, and we end up skipping forward in time, and nothing has even happened yet.
Just seems like this shoehorned in that plot because it was comic accurate.
This is only 20 minutes into a 2-hour movie. Let's pick up the pace a bit.
Skipping forward probably around 20 years of time, I don't know. Matt Long transforms into Nicolas Cage and is now uber famous for doing death-defying jumps, much like the one he's doing now.
He jumps.
He crashes.
He should be dead, but he survived.
His best friend, and very important character I'm sure, Mac, is concerned about how Johnny's doing more and more dangerous stunts and tells him that he must have an angel watching over him. And Johnny thinks it might be something else.
Here and relax like everybody else, huh?
You know alcohol gives me nightmares.
This version of Johnny Blaze is much more lighthearted than one might expect.
For example, instead of drinking alcohol, he consumes jelly beans. The writer and director did this on purpose, since they figured that a character that has a lot of dark things going on in his life would rather keep his mind on something more wholesome.
Meanwhile, somewhere, a cringe emo demon boy shows up and murderizes some bikers. That's how you know he's a bad guy, cause he kills people.
This edgelord's name is Blackheart, and he assembles a team of fallen angel goobers. Afterwards, he confronts none other than his own father, Mephisto.
You see, Blackheart wants the contract of souls mentioned earlier. Mephisto doesn't want that. That's what you call conflict.
And, back to Johnny. He's about to do an even more dangerous jump, but before he goes, he's asked for an exclusive interview with, gasp, Roxanne. She's grown up to be a reporter on TV, and the two have an embarrassing interview.
Come on, Johnny, you got this, Johnny. You can do this, Johnny.
What's going through your mind right now?
You look really good. I've seen you on TV. You know, I watch a lot of TV. And
Dang it, Johnny, you blew it!
There were quite a few lines from Johnny Blaze that Nicolas Cage improvised for the character.
you still like Italian?
The director really wanted to make a movie in which the dark character of Ghost Rider was balanced out by humor, so Nick Cage would add in improvised lines that would, supposedly, add charm to the character.
With Roxanne on his mind, he goes to jump over some helicopters, just like his dear old dad wanted to do someday.
Instead of the cars or the ring of fire, a helicopter.
He makes it, he sticks the landing. Then, after some post-jump clarity, he commits multiple traffic violations, almost gets killed, and snags a date with Roxanne. Seriously though, he really put all his faith in this guy not to kill him.
Later, Johnny is somehow already late for his dinner with Roxanne. He hypes himself up, once again telling himself he can't live in fear, just like the beginning of the movie. It's called a callback, people!
Then, Johnny gets hot Cheeto hands.
Deliciously hot, dangerously cheesy.
Oh dear.
Then his dad's old bike drives up by itself.
That can't be good.
Then the devil Mephisto appears!
Johnny, run!
Johnny points at him again, and this must be some comic book reference I'm missing. Oh, what's going on?
Mephisto says it's been him making sure Johnny doesn't die before he needs him, and that if Johnny destroys Blackheart, he'll give him his soul back.
You're under contract. I'm not doing it. You don't have any choice.
After causing thousands of dollars in property damage, the bike dumps him somewhere, Nicolas Cage starts wigging out, and finally transforms into Ghostrider.
The frick am I watching?
Ghostrider is
seriously intense.
You might be wondering, why is Nicolas Cage in this movie? Nicolas Cage is apparently a huge fan of motorcycles and comic books. According to him, he grew up with an interest in characters like Ghostrider and the Hulk, since they looked super scary but were actually the good guys.
As far as motorcycles go, in an interview, he was asked what some of the wildest stunts he's ever done were.
Yeah, there are a few that I shouldn't have done, and I don't want to go on record with it, but I don't recommend it.
That's suspicious.
Ghostrider finds Edgelord and his cronies that I already forgot about and fights them. After multiple attempts to bring him down, they settle for hitting Ghostrider with a truck. Oh wait, that didn't work so well either.
He kills the dusty one, but not before this bad butt line.
Have mercy. Sorry. All out in mercy.
Certified hood classic right there.
Before Ghostrider goes to find the rest of the goobers, he sees a mugger.
You. Guilty.
He grabs the dude and uses something called the pin and stare on him, causing the mugger to remember all the innocents he's killed. Or injured maybe? Because that's a lot of people for a normal looking mugger.
Finally, the sun comes up and Johnny transforms back, right in front of his father's gravestone? Where is he? How did he get here? How far is he from his old town? Why didn't we mention that? I'm so confused.
When he wakes up, Johnny meets the caretaker, played by Sam Elliott, who, despite yapping about the Ghostriders, especially the last one, and standing by a grave that has the name Carter Slade, is definitely not Carter Slade the Ghostrider.
Mr. Elliott stitches up Johnny's stab wound and explains that the Ghostrider is the devil's bounty hunter, sent to capture souls that have escaped from hell. He also explains that the contract Blackheart wants will give him the power of 1,000 souls and bring hell on Earth. That can't be good.
You better hang around here, kid. They can't come on the hallowed ground.
Keep this in mind. Meanwhile, the police investigate all the property damage and the alarmingly dead mugger. Roxanne shows up to make a nuisance out of herself, and shortly thereafter, Johnny arrives and poorly explains why he missed their date, and she leaves. Honestly, deserved.
That's what you get.
Johnny goes home to do some Nick Cage acting, and then starts trying to practice his new superpowers with his demonology books. Roxanne shows up to be a nuisance again, now with her shirt unnecessarily unbuttoned, and she wants to make up and possibly make out with Johnny.
But he can't be doing this hanky-panky. He tries telling her the truth after warning her that she won't believe him. And she's like, try me! And after he tells her about Ghostrider, she doesn't believe him. Who could have predicted this outcome?
Certainly not me.
She leaves just moments before the cops arrive. Presumably, because their shirts are fully buttoned, they are not here to make out with Johnny. Unless...
They bring Johnny in for questioning, hence the 3 squad cars full of officers who immediately pulled guns on an unarmed man.
What? They think Johnny is suspicious because of his license plate being at the scene of the crime, and because Johnny uses pyrotechnics.
That's stupid. Johnny says he didn't do it, so they're forced to let him go because they didn't read him his Miranda rights. Just kidding, they don't believe him and throw him in the drunk tank, denying Johnny his phone call and his right to a lawyer. I'm guessing the writers of this movie may not be too familiar about how this whole legal system works. But then again, I'm not either.
The boys in the tank know who Johnny Blaze is, and they're all upset with him because one of them paid $10 to see him die at a show and was terribly disappointed.
Makes sense. They try beating him up.
Nice jacket.
Come on, man. Leave him alone.
Get lost.
But Ghostrider bursts out of the pile of punches and gets himself a new jacket.
Nice jacket.
Hey, where are the cops?
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I've sinned a lot.
please stop.
Oh, there is one police officer on the premises. Kudos.
Ghostwriter flips off the police, which is super edgy, and chases the wind goober up a building. There, the wind dude thinks he's safe because the rider can't touch him, until Mr. Flaming Skull uses his chains to suck the wind dude and make him extra crispy.
Seriously intense.
I gotta say, in the few fights that exist, Ghostwriter has broken exactly 0 sweats.
Ghostwriter lands in front of a bunch of coppers, but seems to calm down when he sees Roxanne. Of course, the police decide to shoot him, but he shrugs off the bullets. Wait! Earlier, Johnny got a stab wound for the mugger. Does this mean he'll wake up dead?
Later, we see he's not dead, or even passed out like before. Consistency is a luxury we cannot afford. He goes to talk to Sam Elliott, aka the caretaker.
Blade made a deal. Ended up a ghostwriter.
It seems all his character is good for is exposition. Suddenly, Johnny becomes aware that Roxanne might be in danger and runs off.
Roxanne is looking for Johnny, but runs into Mac, who's also worried about Johnny because he's a good friend.
It's now dark outside, and the caretaker goes outside to confront Blackout and his remaining crony with a shovel. So is this hollowed ground, or isn't it?
I have all of my father's strengths, and none of his weaknesses.
Ah! Wait, so what's the other guy doing here?
The bad boys demand the contract.
Give it to me! Give it to me! Give it to me!
But the caretaker refuses, and is heartened by this rejection, they leave the caretaker alive. But Blackout has a backup plan.
Blackout sneaks into Johnny's home and kills Mac. No! He died for literally no reason.
Johnny arrives too late and spares all of 2 seconds to mourn his supposedly best friend.
Mac.
He then transforms into Ghostwriter and fights Blackheart, but the penance stare doesn't work on him because Blackheart has no soul. Ghostwriter is then subdued and told to bring the contract to San Vengaza, otherwise he'll kill Roxanne.
Luckily, after a bit of convincing, the caretaker entrusts Johnny with the contract.
Oh my gosh! Wow, the caretaker is actually slayed. OMG, this is crazy. I did not see this coming a mile away.
Slade's got one last ride left in him and he hops on his ghost horse and giddies on up. They ride out to rescue Roxanne, and when they arrive, Slade gives Johnny a shotgun and then boogies it out of there. What?
I could only change one more time, and I was saving it for this.
What are you talking about? Blackheart sends the last water dude after Ghostwriter, but only buys about 2 minutes of time, if we're being generous.
Johnny is here and ready to throw hands, but Blackheart tells Johnny not to transform or he'll kill Roxanne. Johnny says he'll hand over the contract if Blackheart releases Roxanne.
Johnny then sneakily waits until Blackheart is close enough and then transforms and hits him. How did Blackheart not see that coming?
They smack each other around for a bit, fighting for the map, but hark! The sun has come up and the Ghostwriter is out of time.
Blackheart triumphantly reads the contract and absorbs the 1,000 souls. Luckily, Johnny figures he can transform in the shadows and lures Blackout into the church.
That might have worked out a little too well.
Seriously intense.
With the help of Roxanne, Ghostwriter gains the upper hand and burns all 1,000 souls inside of Blackheart. What an oversight on Blackheart's part.
With Blackheart gone, Mephisto appears and is ready to take away Johnny's curse and give him back his soul. But Johnny refuses, saying that he'll keep the curse so that nobody else gets tricked into taking the deal, and so that he can use the power against the devil. Mephisto is upset by this and rage quits.
Johnny and Roxanne know they have to be apart, but not before they smooch. Now Johnny's out there fighting evil and creating the new legend of the Ghostwriter. Ah! Wow, that was an interesting shot.
The end.
Review time!
The movie is, if nothing else, unique. Directorial decisions were made for sure, and while the story suffered immensely, the cinematography was interesting.
The visual effects for most of the movie were pretty well done, even if the CGI is a bit dubious. But the pyrotechnics, as well as the stunts performed, kind of made up for it.
The acting wasn't always bad. I think most of the actors and actresses were perfectly fine, but they suffered mostly because of the direction.
I didn't really notice the soundtrack for the most part, but I'm sure it's fine.
The movie seems like it was made by a lot of people who had a love for the character, and judging by the behind-the-scenes footage we've seen, everyone had a good time making it.
While not entirely comic accurate, the movie was pretty true to the character of Ghostwriter, although there were a few changes that were rather strange.
For instance, in the comics, Johnny's father dies when Johnny is quite young, and he's taken in by Roxanne's parents, and Roxanne's father has a whole cancer thing, and dies in a motorcycle accident. Why did they feel the need to change that? I don't know.
As far as some of the more negative aspects we noticed in the movie, the pacing for the first half of the movie is rather odd. We get the intro from Sam Elliott, and then we see young Johnny sell his soul, and then finally, after 20 minutes, we skip forward in time to Nicolas Cage's Johnny, and then we finally see the Ghostwriter for the first time almost halfway through the movie. I feel like they could have abbreviated some sections of the movie a bit more.
The writing is pretty awful for the most part, though I guess it's not too much worse than some of the other superhero movies at the time. The film is rather inconsistent in what it tells the audience, and sometimes stuff happens because the writers either forgot that contradicts what they said earlier, or because it just needed to happen.
Honestly, the characters aren't very interesting at all. They feel pretty generic. And while in the behind the scenes they describe some of the characters and their different motivations and everything, it just didn't carry through to the final product.
Most of the characters lack motivation, agency, or struggle in any meaningful way, and just end up kind of feeling like empty shells. I still don't know if Johnny is cool with occasionally killing people as long as they're bad people, or if he even remembers much of what he does.
Venom is far, 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 far from a perfect movie, but I think the balance of Eddie Brock versus Venom in the character works a lot better than a Ghostrider.
Overall, the movie is a pretty generic mid-tier superhero origin movie, without too much that sets it apart. It is what it is, and it seems like the movie has a rather loyal fan base online, which is understandable.
But what's also understandable is how this movie pretty quickly fell into obscurity. If you like Ghostrider, I mean, why not check out the movie? Otherwise, there isn't much else for an average moviegoer.
Though if you're in for a visual experience, go ahead.
Despite being rather generic, it was successful enough for 20th Century Fox, I meant to say Columbia Pictures, darn it, to spawn a sequel, one that would destroy almost everything this movie built up.
But that will be in part 2, so subscribe to get notified when that video drops.
And if this end screen isn't that video, it's probably something else that you'll find interesting.
If it's not, try this video over here. And until we see you there, he's Detective Mia.
And he is Inspector Keto.
And we hope that you have a blessed day.
Bye!